Hi, everybody. You're listening to Americans by Choice, a podcast from Miguel and David. We bring the outsider's point of view to inside politics. We're both foreign-born and lived in the USA for over 25 years, following politics blow by blow all along the way. Join two old friends who like to talk politics and had a good time while doing it. Miguelito.
Oh, my friend David, where are you? How are you?
Good, man. I couldn't wait to talk to you because I was hoping that you was. Are you still in touch with your family, or they completely abandoned you?
Oh, very much in touch with them. Very much in touch with them, and they live in England.
Yeah, and I figure you will have the inside scoop there. What's going on in England, my friend?
Oh, my friend, it has been a monumental sea change in terms of the power levers over there in England. And I think let me talk about England or the UK as a bellwether for American politics, right? So
indeed.
Right in the mid 2000s, I don't know if our listeners know this, but there was a vote in England that basically took them out of the European Union, the famous Brexit, right?
Miguel, I remember where I was specifically. I was in the South having dinner and read the news that say, the vote for Brexit went through. And I remember saying out loud, I couldn't help myself, to the whole table. No, I say, Trump is going to win.
Right. And this is the thing.
For me, that was like the clearest sign that we're heading in that direction.
Well, I mean, and do you remember, even as a reference back, Ohio is like a bellwether state. And when you look at the UK as a bellwether state, almost in sorts, it caught all of us as such a surprise that, and by the way, and look
this time around?
Well, no, when Brexit happened, it went Brexit, Trump, and then Boris Johnson, right? And Johnson is almost like, the the Gemini twin to Trump, right? So you could see this.
With much worse hair. Well, I don't know. That's two different versions.
I don't know, man. They both seem to go to the same guy. Or girl. Now we're worried about her hair.
I know much to talk about hair.
But anyways, so this week, Labour, having been out of power for 14 years.
Who are the Labours? Labour are what? The Republicans?
The Labour Party.
The Democrats?
The Labour Party is essentially the Democrats in England, and the Conservatives are the Republicans, right? But having been out of power for 14 years, Labour has...
They've been on the right side, on the right-wing government for how many years?
14.
Wow.
14 years.
Unbelievable.
But, British politics kind of works that way, like that once you settle into power, they seem to stay there for a while, or at least since I lived there, because, I was born in 1979, and then you had Margaret Thatcher, who survived up until 1996, a conservative government. Then Tony Blair came along from 96 to 2010 or something like that, and now there's a shift. So in my lifetime, there's been only 3 shifts in government in the UK.
So they don't swing back and forth as much.
Not swinging back and forth, but anyways. But here's let's start talking about the breakdown. The Labour government right now has finished in what you might call, in the American terms, a supermajority, but really just a majority in Parliament, right? But here's the interesting thing. They won less votes than they did last time when they ran against Boris Johnson, who was a kind of Trump-esque figure. And at the time, you had Jeremy Corbyn, who was more of a Bernie Sanders figure, I suppose. He was very lefty. But anyways, less votes, more seats. And by what I mean about more seats, you're...
So gerrymandering going on there? What's going on?
Well, we're going to get to this, because we're going to get to this. We're going to talk about proportional representation today, and what because in England, they have the first past the post, similar to many countries, like in America, first past the post. Yeah, you want to hide, then that's what happens, right? So when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, these people must love the Republicans. Yet the Republican has never won a plurality of majority votes in America, right? How long has it been? I think Bush's second term?
Bush was the only one who won on the second term, and that was sus. Basically, on our adult lifetimes, yours and I, a Republican hasn't actually won the popular vote.
But here's like an even. I'm going to double back into proportional representation. But here's the real bad news that I'm seeing. If England or the UK is a bellwether to the politics in the United States, only less than 60% of people voted in the UK. That means that voter apathy is very, very high.
Yeah, but those are the numbers that we got here in the United States.
I know,
actually,
but
those numbers are actually better in the United States.
correct, but like compared to their own numbers, it means the apathy has grown, meaning that not that many people went to vote. So the voter turnout was, I think, 58%. So, but usually it's higher than that. Actually, what helped Labour, and maybe you want to get to this. There's in the UK, there was during the Brexit vote, there's this guy called Nigel Farage, who was the engineer of Brexit. He wanted to run against the Conservatives. He's basically like a Le Pen figure. In fact, actually, he didn't want to do anything.
Le Pen from France, the right wing woman from France. Yeah,
correct. But actually, Nigel Farage was like, I don't want to do anything with the British elections that are happening. And then last minute, in fact, his plans was to come to America and help the Trump campaign to get elected. That was his plan. And then last minute, he goes, you know what? I'm going to form a party called the Reform Party. And that actually ended up bleeding out the Conservative vote so much that it got Labour more seats.
So they split the Conservative vote, and that's probably what got Labour now back into power.
Not just into power, but with an immense majority. So, proportional representation, right? And this is something that you talk about all the time, David, and something that I want, right? Proportional representation seems like the fair business, right? And I think non-proportional representation is a cause of apathy, right? This idea that, I don't like any of the candidates that are possibly going to get in. In America right now, we have Biden and Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in England, before that, but I think people were so sick of the Conservative Party, they just voted, as a protest vote again for reform, which bled out the Conservatives and got Labour further in, right? That's good for us lefties. But here's the deal. If the Reform Party would have got their percentage proportionality with the Conservatives, they would still be in the minority, but a significant opposition to the left-wing parties in England.
Yeah, well, I had to say, at this point, most people in England must have fucking come to the realization that Brexit was a freaking disaster.
Right.
And finally, it's kind of like when in the United States, the Iraq War had this support that went on for like 3-4 years. People were still, we want to find the weapons. Oh, yeah, the weapons of mass destruction. Oh, Saddam Hussein was the one who got us. Oh, yeah.
They found a desk. It might be under the desk. Remember all that? It's like, they found the labs.
But at some point, it was like, this shit was a bust. So I figure that by now, England is in that phase of like, this shit is not going to work. We're fucked, and we're not going to be unfucked. There is no fucking England from the Brexit.
But again, to go back to my bellwether sort of idea of the UK versus the US, this is not, I wouldn't compare it to the Iraq War. I would compare it to what is the movement that's driving this, ultra-right.
Like a policy that is a blunder, and it takes a while for the hardcore believers to even come to the realization that it was a blunder.
But this blunder,
in that sense.
But this blunder of Brexit, which is, it was promised to like supercharge the English economy, has not happened, right? But what maintains, and you can see the correlation into the U.S. politics, is immigration, right? So reform keeps winning because of this immigration issue. It really is the issue that the Republicans right now are coming after the Democrats here in this country, right? Correct?
Yeah. Well, listen, immigration is fueling this everywhere. And to make a final point, and I'm talking about the, good omens. We also have, I think today, the elections in France. Also, the Liberals won over there. And not only they won over there, but apparently, I'm sorry, I was probably conflating France with England earlier. And what happened there is like, on the first round of election, Le Pen did a good showing.
Yeah.
And it's just put a fire under the fucking asses of the liberal French people. And they came out. And now, they swung decisively to the left.
Well,
so we have...
Let's talk about this, because there is this idea, whether you swing to the right, to the left.
We're talking.
No. But But like, elections are won in the middle, and I think it was Macron. If you want to talk about France, Macron saw the right wing rise in the European elections when they happened. I think it was like a month ago, right? And he's like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna call a general election. I'm gonna call their bluff. If you really want these people to rise,
by the way, let's just explain to people what a fucking ballsy move that was.
I mean, it's the ultimate gambit.
Macron had three. He could have just keep his mouth shut,
up,
keep low, and he had 3 more years to go.
Yeah.
Instead, he says, "Oh, you guys are fucking flirting with the ultra right.
The right wing.
Let's call let's call an election." And he called the bluff of the French people in a way. Like in a way, he was like, "Okay, is that what you're gonna do?"
Well, let me tell you,
it was a gamble, Miguel. This was huge. A gamble. People it was a nail biter.
Well, huge, and actually even to like tie that in with the US and the UK. So Nigel Farage, who is, let's call it the Le Pen right-wing party in the UK, Nigel Farage had tried to get just into the parliament. He tried 8 times, lost 8 times. But when he tried for the European Parliament, his party did very well, because the people in the UK feel like, well, fuck the European Parliament. That's where we throw our protest votes, right? So Macron probably said, oh, you want to throw protest votes to the European Parliament? Do it here and prove that you mean it. And I think that's what you're talking about.
No, it was a ballsy fucking move. And it's also... I'm not going to lie. Very often here in this side of the pond, we envy the parliamentary system, right? Like the capacity of a leader to call an election like that and say, yeah, let's do the election right now. And it's always a thing with the coalitions, right? Right. And I always compare that with the United States. I feel like the main difference, the easier way to explain the system that we have here versus the parliamentary system. It's like you have a bunch of parties, all of them, all ideologies. And
like
they
a splintered view. Yeah.
And they get their 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever, many.
Yeah.
And we feel like, how cool it would be to have that much choice. But what really happens is like once that you give them the vote, they get together and they all reorganize one way or another to form a majority, which means like, let's say that you're, to make an example. Yes. It's like voting here for Bernie Sanders, and all of a sudden Bernie Sanders
is supporting Biden. Oh my God, that did happen.
No. Wait. I was gonna make a better example. It's like here, all of a sudden voting for Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders forms a coalition with a libertarian, Ron Paul, for example, right? And you're like, what the fuck? I mean, they may
that
have
would be a very
things.
Weird coalition, but go on.
But it happens. It happens. It actually happens. Is open to that. So I always tell my friends who are like pining for the parliamentary system, the difference with the main advantage of what we have is like those
first
coalitions
past
happen.
The post. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, those coalitions happen before we vote. Bernie Sanders gets in the same fucking wagon with Hillary and Biden. And now we know we're not going to see Bernie Sanders jumping and all of a sudden going to Ron Paul or Paul Ryan. Right?
It's what they call in America the big tent. You know what I mean? And this is like you unify under the big tent, and you go to the convention and you make the deals. Yes, behind doors, but we're ready. Biden, I'm sure made the deals with Bernie as he did probably with Hillary in some ways, and made it more progressive. Please.
And I can see certain advantage of these guys telling us up front who they're going to be with. I mean,
sure.
Again, I'm just trying to fucking find the silver lining on this. I'm find the little chocolate morsel on the shed cookie.
The silver lining here or there, because the silver lining is
our system here, our system here in America, that we see our coalitions forming ahead of time. If you don't mind it, man.
Do you feel like that's a more honest system in some way?
It is. Like, for example, not that I have any love for Netanyahu, right? But it's another parliamentary system, right?
He does not. Not even a little bit.
No. In order for that man to stay in
Some
power,
people call him Bibi. You notice he didn't. But it go on.
Yeah. I call him asshole. Anyway, so you notice how he has to start finding friends farther and farther and farther
to the right,
farther to the right,
yeah.
in order to make that coalition. I'm sure some fucking centrist voters voted for him, thinking like, well, the guy is kind of reasonable and shit, you know. So there is, but man, not to bring it back to the United States.
Always do. This is what this is about.
Yeah. You saying how they tackle to the center, and that caught my eye because, man, what a week. It has been an exceptional week for Trump. We had never seen a week of Trump like the last week.
Oh, my God.
He has never been this silent, Miguel.
He hasn't appeared.
We had never seen Trump being silent, ever.
Yeah.
And this is very unique and very conspicuous. You cannot miss this. And it has to be that it's the first time that he knows that his press is just destroying Biden, which is, by the way, but Hillary thought that the way to take Trump down was to stay out of the news and let him fucking
spiral out of control.
Spiral in the model and let the news cover him, right? So now it didn't work. But right now we can see Trump doing it because Biden,
and it's been very effective. And this is the thing. Let's talk about pre-debate, if we remember such a thing, because we can't take it out of our memory, is that we thought, well, Trump is going to come and start speaking, and then we're going to remember who he is. Well, after the debate, he's gone, you know what? I don't even need to do anything. Because right now you have George Stephanopoulos talking to Biden. You have the New York Times questioning him. Why does it... I read today what Trump has no rallies this week. Nothing. No. He's been spent the entire week golfing.
Do you know exactly? Do you know how we speculated that Trump have the announcement
advantage
of the VP? No, he would say he has the announcement of the VP in pocket to change the news cycle.
Right. No. And he still has that card in his pocket.
And I tell you one more, Miguel, and this happens yesterday. This is how you know the motherfucker knows this, running away from this. Another thing that we had
running with it.
Yeah, we had never seen Trump do. Tackling to the center. Hear me out. He just came out yesterday and he basically denounced Project 2025.
No.
And yes. I'll read it. I'll read it to you. He basically saying, I don't know those guys.
That's the famous pivot to the center into the general.
Yeah. He basically saying, I don't know those guys. I never seen those guys.
Never heard those guys. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are.
Of course, there is
classic
video
Trump. That's classic Trump.
Classic Trump. I mean, the one thing that he knows, he can say whatever.
I don't know who that guy is.
Whatever he wants. Anyway, his whole administration is part of the Heritage Foundation. He has fucking
that guy.
He is giving his speeches over there. I mean,
they just put Steve Bannon in jail, who probably wrote half of it. You know what I'm saying?
No, listen.
I mean, it's a Heritage Foundation. I get it, but yeah.
No, it's incredible the amount, literally, all his administration are actually the class of Trump 2020 is all there in the Heritage Foundation. And he's basically saying, I don't know who the fucking guys are.
Right.
Now, maybe we unpack this from people who listen to us. Project 2025 is just absolutely horrendous. A set of 900 pages fucking playbook that the Heritage Foundation, a think tank from the right, is put out, where they actually say what they want to do. And there is crazy thing, cut education, get rid of the EPA, cut Social Security, deregulate shit. I mean, they are absolutely...
Well, I mean, out of all those craziest ideas, you know what the craziest idea is? They want to basically nullify the opposition. That's the bit. Outside of all the wild ideas.
So much there that is literally, I think what they thought is if they put a document that's 900 pages long. Nobody's going to fucking read that thing. So they're like, I don't know, it's right over there. You want to read it? No? Okay, no.
But
okay.
isn't that similar to the bee's nest that we talked about in the debate where, it's like, we want, it's like this, and it's like, this is so insane. How do we even retort to this?
Gish Galop. Yeah,
Gish Galop. This is the Gish Galop of political manifestos. This is the Gish Galop.
We're going off train here, but listen, this is what's happened. So Project 25 is basically the Heritage Foundation, founded in 1960 something.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, at some point, rich people say, listen, we had terrible our ideas people don't like it.
And we don't have the numbers.
Yeah. When we tell people, hey, man, keep working for nothing, and we want to keep all the money.
Hey, by the way, give us some tax breaks. It's going to sound terrible.
No. No, what? That's basically what it is. We just want to keep all the money, and we want you guys to stay poor. And the rich people came in the 60s, like, for some reason, these assholes are not going for that. So they started a think tank. The think tank creates policy, right?
For some reason.
I'm simplifying, right? But basically, a think tank is a bunch of fucking smart guys getting I don't know if smart, but basically guys with a lot of good education getting a place, and they come up with policy. They had done this before, Miguel. Heritage Foundation hang over a similar playbook to Reagan. And Reagan implemented about 60% of the Heritage Foundation. Do you remember how
it was the beginning of that Heritage Foundation as
but that tack to the right,
of the Republicans.
Yes. Yeah, like the whole ideological tack to the right, like, let's crazy people. We don't need places for crazy people. Close all the fucking mental institutions.
What's the worst that can happen? Oh shit, where are these homeless people coming from? They have mental health problems.
Yeah. So basically, this is not new. This is the Project 25 thing is not new, and it deserves you and I talking about it for 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, no,
I just want to point out that they're not a new kid in the block. But the fucking ideas they are so fucking radical that some people are going like, this is fucking crazy. Now, Trump has never seen a crazy idea that he cannot embrace.
Nor a porn star, but it's okay.
Nor a porn star. He grabs bad ideas like he grabbed women's,
I don't know that. I don't know about
crutches.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I saw Trump tacking to the center, I go like, holy shit, this guy is emboldened. Not only he's being silent, but he's tacking to the center. In a week of silence,
He's getting smarter.
In a week of silence, the only thing that he has, the only noise he made was to tack to the center. This is Miguel. They know they're running away with that. Those internal polls must be showing that we're about to exile the Democratic Party.
I mean,
let me tell you something.
Well, but before you break that down, let me just say this, that we always talked about Trump as his biggest weakness, as not being able to control himself, right? Mm-hmm. But now we see a level of control right now that, clearly he's like, here's the level of control. Mr. Greatest president ever, Trump, go play golf. We're good. And he's like, okay. Before, maybe he wouldn't have done it. The polls must be outrageous. Outrageous.
Yeah. Well, listen, and that's the thing. We had a Trump day. Listen, I firmly believe that when Trump won in 2016, all he wanted to do was to get his name out there.
Yeah, he just wanted to sell pancakes under the Trump pancakes and get high profile. And all of a sudden he's like Trump steaks, whatever the fuck it was.
And all of a sudden he's like, what? What the fuck? He wasn't ready. He was no personal.
Run the free world.
Yeah, they had no plan, right? But he liked it. But that was the best gig he ever got, right? So the best gig he ever got, and now he's ready. And we can see that the people around him is good, and he's ready. Yeah. Now, let me give you one more data point of how emboldened these guys are. They are emboldened to a level, Miguel, that is chilling. Here's a conservative leader. This is a guy from the Heritage Foundation. Let me see if I can see his name. Kevin Roberts is the president of the Heritage Foundation.
Oh, right? Congratulations, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. He went to the news. He went on TV and say the following. A big, lofty speech and says the second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be. Holy shit, Miguel.
And there you have it.
That
there you
is
have it.
chilling. That is chilling. Let me repeat that one more time. The second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be. That means shut the fuck up, kneel down,
stay in your place,
or we're ready to make this blood.
Proud Boys, stand down, stand by.
Holy shit,
We've heard these words. We've heard these, but this is the thing. We've heard these words from Trump, the maniac, unhinged candidate, and now we're hearing it from the think tank. Do you know what that means? They understand the power that they have. You know what I mean? They always understood the power they have, but they're just no. They didn't understand. But this is the thing. Trump brings the the uneducated white man, working class, with them, that they know that they can make these statements and be like, look, if you let us do this, it'll be fine. But if you don't, they will be trouble, and they will make trouble. Right now, I mean,
but they're not talking. But they're not talking to the MAGA supporter. They're talking to you.
No, they're talking to us. They're talking to us, and you know why they're talking to us? Because last week the Supreme Court said, "Hey, by the way, overreach on MAGA convictions on the January 6th. Like, they weren't they weren't doing anything wrong. They were merely tourists in the Capitol. You know what I mean? Like,
let's break this down. Yeah, let's break down the last Supreme docket that just finished here in July. Right? They gave us all these pearls, decisions that of course, one was worse than the next, and they saved, of course, the worst for last, which is basically giving Trump immunity, total immunity, right? And we can break that down. But before that, my man, holy shit, the whole thing with the Chevron doctrine where they drop, it basically says now judges decide. Getting rid of the Chevron doctrine basically says that usually agencies have the last word in how to interpret the laws that Congress passed. So Congress says we need to keep the water clean, right?
And these agencies, wait, just to clarify, these agencies are government agencies, right? So who are filled with experts and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I made no mistake. These agencies are the part of the separation of powers. They're under the executive power, meaning that they are under the president. They're president, right? Right. Like the president executes his agenda through these agencies, right? So by hog tying these agencies, they are basically making sure that the president cannot affect regulation, right? So basically, and to explain a little bit more, like let's say that Congress says we need to keep the water clean. Tell the EPA what that means, right? Should we put Kool-Aid? Well, Kool-Aid may be cool. Should we put arsenic? No, that's not good, right?
I saw a movie they put Gatorade, and that didn't work, but it's okay.
That's what planes crave. Anyway, so the whole point is like they take this and they make sure that these agencies that regulate safety, that regulate drugs, all that shit, now they can be second guessed by a judge that has no expertise in that. So that's one.
No, they just
the other one that would have been a fucking blockbuster on his own. They make bribery legal. You remember that, Miguel? They make this whole thing in which you can actually bribe.
Wait. Bribery is illegal, but the minute the president does it on the other side, that's an official act.
No. You're breaking two things. There was another one that has to do with bribes, in which I think the governor of one of the South states, basically, he channeled a bunch of business to a car dealership with trucks. He got like $2 million. And then he received a $15,000 check from the dealership. They say like, oh no, this breaks our fucking laws about corruption, right? Well, guess what? They took that shit to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court came up to this decision. If you get the money after you do the thing, it's called a gratuity. Miguel, I wish I would be making this shit up. It's called a gratuity.
A gratuity?
And a gratuity is not prohibited, but a bribe is prohibited. So effectively what we're doing is like you have to give the money. You only get the money after you deliver. Think about this, Miguel. This effectively works out like this. If you're a corrupt politician, right? And I say, Miguel, I need you.
I might want to be, but go on. Go on.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
You work.
Why would I do that?
Well, I don't, somebody. Anyway, and I give you money to send me a bunch of business to my, to send all this army business to my organization. Let's say Halliburton, right?
Yeah.
That you say, hey, it's all these meals. Send it my way. Get this money. Now you could be a crooked person who wants to do the right thing, and you may want to take my money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say, yeah, give me your money, and do nothing and say, fuck you, right? No, the Supreme Court fixed that. Now the Supreme Court make it like, if I bribe you, you better deliver, motherfucker, because I won't give you the money until you deliver. You see how perverse the incentive it is? The incentive is you put all the power on the person giving the bribe by making it that if you take the bribe before you deliver, you're breaking the law. But if you take the bribe after you deliver, it's called a gratuity. Miguel, that was just one of the fucking things that dropped in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, I don't think will recover from this. I don't want to dwell into this because they have
No,
done
you should
two other big ones.
dwell a little bit. Dwell a little bit.
Well,
marinate.
Dwell a little bit. Okay, let's marinate. Okay, so let's just make it simple, right? Mm-hmm. So they're doing this thing like right now with the immunity, right? They're basically telling us, well, the president is immune, but he's not immune for everything. There's some things that he's not immune about it, right? The funny thing about what the court is doing with the total immunity for a president, it's like they had done that little game before.
Right.
They make decisions and they give a little bit of an opening and say, whoa. We're not totally say he's immune. He's kind of immune, but look over here. There is a little way that maybe we can make it. Now they make it big.
If somebody else comes in, then they're not.
Yeah. They give a little loop there that you say, well, he's not totally immune. Let me tell you how that little game played in two previous decisions. Citizens United, right? In Citizens United, they come and say, you know what? Money in politics. Bring all the money you want. And the people go like, yeah, but it's going to be corruption. I said, no, don't worry, because it's going to be transparency, right? They leave that thing open. Well, we can have all the money because it's going to be transparency. So right immediately after Citizens United passed, they tried to pass a transparency fucking act, right?
Sure.
And when that doesn't pass, but even if
course,
you
once it
happen like
down,
locally, when they come back to the Supreme Court says, nah, not really. Nah, that transparency doesn't work that way. They did that with the Voting Rights Act. They got rid of pre-clearance, which basically say, listen, we want to fuck up the black people. We don't want them to vote. In the past, if a state wanted to do laws that basically are likely to be discriminatory, they had to go to a judge before and say, hey, can we do this? So they will go to the judge and say, hey, man, can we do this? And the judge said, no, don't even try. So they got rid of that part of the law. But they say, but you know what? You can still sue after they do the thing, after they pass the law. Guess what? When they try to do that little thing, that little loophole that they open, they go like, not really. So and I feel like they're doing it again with a total immunity. They pass this law and they keep a little window there that we know they're going to close.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, two things I would say. Well, first of all, that just only reminds me of Mitch McConnell saying, if you really want to prosecute Donald Trump, that we have a system where you can take him to the law courts and he would be... Yeah, and he would be responsible, and he would go to jail, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then when it happened, immunity. Okay, so, and there's one. And then to sort of sum up the idea that you're saying is that to not be uber controversial, stay with me, to not be uber controversial, they'll just kind of give an edict that will be like, oh, this is what it is, but knowing that once it comes back in any way that you can... go against it, they'll be like, nope, that's not right either. So it's
yeah. Listen, but so that's what they've been doing. The Supreme Court have been doing that, but there's another next level that Trump takes it to, right? It's the fact that Trump comes with the dumbest fucking excuses And the Supreme Court goes like, let's look into that. When he basically said that the president have total immunity, and and they give those hypotheticals of getting Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, and would that be legal? A lot of people were like, no fucking way. But as this Supreme Court goes, it's like, tell me more about that. That is the equivalent, Miguel, of you go to the teacher and say, hey, Mrs. Dunn, my dog ate my homework. And the teacher goes like, bring me your dog, and we want to look into his shit. And the teacher starts looking into the dog shit and go like, oh, I think I see it. Oh, I see it. So this basically they're willing to entertain the fucking most obvious, dumbest argument.
No. But I was gonna say, look, but like it's just this idea that like they make these decisions with consequential effects. But the fact is that like us, like liberal democratic wimps, won't follow through on it. Right now, if we had a more consequential, maybe even dangerous precedent on our side that is as dangerous as them, to give us that open check, if we follow the ruling that the Supreme Court has done, and then follow through with the quote unquote allowances that they have given us, they would be afraid. They would be very afraid, and that would be a terrible world that we would live in.
Well, but, Miguel, is what I was saying. The president that has immunity right now is Biden.
Yes.
That is the one. Democrats have a president with total immunity. But
we know that he's not. Instead, we're about to get to that also, but he's not a person that either would do it because he's a good and moral person, B, he's not as ruthless as the opposition. But I don't have any doubt that if the opposition was in power, i.e. Trump, he would use those powers.
Miguel, I was saying this last week. Democrats have to think what Mitch McConnell will do with this total immunity
100%.
The president got do
what
half.
Does it mean, and what
and
can
do
we
half? We can still do half of what Mitch McConnell will do, and we will still get away with everything. You know what I'm saying?
What would Mitch McConnell do and cut it by half? And cut it by half.
And you're good. And you are still like
winning.
You're winning, man. So we're giving this power, and we haven't gotten into this, but boy, the way that the Democrats are tearing themselves apart.
Okay.
Now.
Let's do get into that. Let's do get into that.
Why
are you saying that?
Oh, Miguel, the fact that all we can think about
change the conversation. Change the conversation. Huh? We already know. Change the conversation. I mean, we're tearing ourselves apart because there's only one man and one man only that will not accept. Well, actually, I'm going to put forth the premise that it's not just Biden, it's his wife Jill Biden that will not accept him not running. Right? Wait. No, that's good. This is disagreement. This is what I mean. Right now, look, listen. I've sat with you. He's got a great record. We've sat with him throughout the whole thing. Did you see the Stephanopoulos interview? Biden is a delusional old man who is going to cost us a generation. And not just in the Supreme Court, but throughout elections. This is insanity.
I'm not telling you that. I'm not here to tell you that Biden is winning. But this fucking notion that all we need to do right now is to magically pick somebody else and everything will be hunky-dory.
Well, we have to do something.
It's wrong. Let me tell you something that Jasmine, you know who Jasmine Crockett is?
No.
She's the one who called Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh our lovely
bad buddy,
African American. Yeah.
A lovely lady.
Yeah, a lovely African American lady from New York, I believe. Yeah.
No, from Texas.
Oh, she's from Texas. Even better, a sassy Texan. It's a good thing.
Our favorite Texas. She says, if Democrats found half as much energy to attack MAGA, the real threat then we will be good. For all the geniuses out there who think someone else will be better, explain who that person is and how to get them in the ballot in all 50 states. Miguel, there is more. But here's the thing. The logistics of getting a new candidate, the only one candidate that can right now can feasibly take over is Kamala. And that still is iffy as fuck.
Bullshit. Go ahead. What you were saying? It's total. It's absolute and complete bullshit. Number one.
Well, you have to give me a better argument.
Well, here's a better argument. If our great president Biden died tomorrow, right, we would be
Kamala becomes president,
right, and we would be in all 50 states, right. None of those delegates went for her, right, and we can still go to a convention and you just apply for.
Miguel.
So you're saying the only reason that we have to run for Biden is a administrational reason?
Well, a lot of people voted for the guy. And now, listen, hear me out. You're the guy who really
vociferously defended?
No. You're the guy who really went after the DNC because they put the thumb
in the scales
in favor of Hillary. Think about and that was just like the thumb. Right now, the DNC will be, it's like, you know how you guys all voted for this guy? We're just going to pick some other guy, and we're just going to put the other person there. Basically, all the voting that you guys did on the primaries, who gives a shit? Here's a new person. I don't know, man.
Well, I'll just say this. The person that you quoted is somebody that, clearly I have enjoyed.
Oh, she's not the only one.
I understand that, but I was just going to retort to what you just said is a black woman. I believe last week we talked about don't fuck with black women in the Democratic Party as the third rail of the Democratic Party. Fair enough. Look, man, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the ranks are closing. I even saw fucking Bernie today, vociferously defending Biden. I get it.
Defending Biden.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But you know what that is? We are going to lose with Biden. Okay,
I know. Listen, we're not going to win with somebody else. I mean, listen, man, I haven't moved from where I was the other day.
I'll do this podcast up until I need to go into hiding with you, up until it was November 3rd. But okay, I'll put the marker right now. If we continue with Biden, we have lost the election. I will join us until the end of this election. But we have already lost. We cannot unsee what we saw in the debates. It is over. This is still over. Like, you talk about the United States of amnesia. We are still convincing ourselves that the centrists in America didn't see what they saw. Look, forget it.
Miguel, you're not arguing what I'm telling. You're not arguing the argument that I'm giving you. The argument I'm giving you is like Biden is going to lose.
Okay.
As it is right now. But switching Biden off is not a winning ticket. I mean, you can do it to feel yourself
There are no guarantees in life except one. If Biden runs, you want a guarantee? If Biden runs, he loses. People say there are no guarantees in life. That's a guarantee. I guarantee it.
I think it's very likely to lose, but I don't think it's a guarantee. All I'm saying right now, man, is that I really don't see a way out of this. I really don't see how we
okay, so this is maybe, this is part of why I wanted to do that. Remember when we started this podcast, I wanted to talk to you. I mean, you're the best at analysis that I know, blah, blah, blah. But we were going to get to this point. The only way that we got out of this is that we make noise on the grassroots level. And it's happening. But the ranks are closing up on top. But look, this is a losing proposition. And you're telling me, we can't, subscribe our candidate in Ohio if we switch right now? We're not. I mean, this is just nonsense. This is just a nonsense argument.
Well, no, there is mechanic. Listen, there's a
logistical thing.
And it's not whether we want to do it or not. Here's the thing. Let me tell you how this happened. Listen, the DNC may have all the intentions to get whatever candidate they choose to get in the ballot in all 50 states, but because Right? Yeah. Well, they have to get in the ballot, right? But they're going to be challenged by Republicans who know how to use the courts for this type of stuff, and that's just going to guarantee that they're going to muck up and stop the gears of the machinery to grind. Like right now, the DNC, well, what Trump is playing golf, his lackeys, his lawyers are going around going like, how we want to sue all these states when they try to change the ballot to the new person, right? And the only person, and this, this makes me sad, Miguel. The only person who has a viable way to take over Biden is Kamala, which, as you know, is my least favorite possible candidate. But right now, all it takes is for Biden to step down and say, and Kamala.
I'm sorry, David. Can I just first of all, like the idea that
Sure.
No, I'm not actually. This week, having been excited about the idea that we could win still this election, I am angry right now that this. Look, man, I don't want to be mean to Biden, but this guy is delusional and egotistical at this point. You talked about JFK Jr. or RFK Jr. being this sick guy. It's like, look, man, we need to wake up. And you're saying that this clerical thing that's like, well, if we don't put Biden, we can't put anybody else on the ballot across the thing. Hey, I don't know how, and by the way, I don't know what election law is, but until the Democratic Party doesn't choose their candidate at the convention, how the fuck are we not able to just choose whoever we want? Right now, I think your argument is that maybe we can't get like whoever our nominee is on the ballot across the what is it?
It's not my argument, Miguel. I didn't come up with that. I told you who came up with that. Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine. Well, I don't know Jasmine. I would love to. I would love to go to dinner with her. She seems like an interesting, lovely.
She's very fun.
Very fun. So am I. But the idea that the Democratic Party cannot choose their nominee at the convention and then put him on the ballot across 50 states makes no sense as a democratic system.
I mean, listen, Miguel, I would love to come up with an optimistic point of view of things. But right now, with the way it's looking, I don't think we're doing anybody any favors by pretending that shit is where it's not. What we have right now is
it's a delusional man
prolonging this self-destructive. I mean, Trump is going to play golf from here until November 4th.
I'm going to go play
just
golf
walk
with Trump.
to the presidency because basically, by the way, Miguel, here's another thing that the press is doing. Like the New York Times. I mean, it's like the New York Times never learned anything from the her emails, right? Like here's the New York Times, like fanning the flames of the whole thing, and the press doing the same shit, which is playing Trump's game. So it's complicated. I just don't see a really viable way out of this. And as much as you think, and listen,
I'm viable. And when you say viable, you mean because of this? What is it? I think about us put like a clerical idea? Or?
Miguel, that's just one of many. The other thing is like, do you think that people are going to get on the convention and they're going to walk and say, this is going to be the guy? Everybody's going to be right.
We did it from between 1968 to 1832 or something like that. We used to do that all the time.
Until when?
From 1832 to 1968.
And who we elected in 1968?
Who gives a shit? We lost one.
We lost one over, and then we switch it to what we have right now. Yeah. And the next year we go Jimmy Carter.
And then what happened to Jimmy?
Yeah, exactly. So one term president.
I'm not saying that this is the idea that the rules change just as a recipe. I'm just saying that this idea that we couldn't go back to different rules to choose a candidate that we trust.
We can do whatever we want. We can make a talent show and see who can jump higher.
That's all this is. That's all this is.
Exactly. No, exactly. It's just let's try to come up with a way where we actually come with a winning alternative. Right now,
you came up with it 2 weeks ago. You said Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. Put those backwards.
Yeah, I actually think the best possible ticket is actually Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, because what we were talking last week.
That's right. That's what you said last week.
No, listen. If we're going to go down there, listen, Miguel, I give you one thing. It's going to be a lot more.
I guess you already gave me the fantasy podcast. Okay.
Yeah. I give you the fantasy. I give you my thing. It's going to be a lot more fun to lose when we put another people on the ticket.
Another person on the ticket?
Yeah, like going down with your hands and feet hog-tie, it's not as fun as going out throwing punches. That's all I'm saying right now. Like I'm all for going down throwing punches, but I not had this delusion like, oh, this is the winning thing. Things change. I mean, let's head down that way and see how. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. It's going to be fun for you and me. We thought we wouldn't be talking about Trump. We wouldn't be talking about the Democrats the whole time from June until November.
If they stick with Biden, this is over. This is over. I mean, we're gonna be there. Welcome to the podcast of down ballot races. This is what this is gonna be. I mean, there is no way Joe Biden. Can I just say this, and I'll just say this out loud? I don't know. I mean, my vote doesn't count. I'm in California, but. Just as a protest vote, what the fuck are we running Joe Biden for? I mean, this idea that, like, I began this podcast talking about the British politics and the apathy levels over there. This is what makes people apathetic. Is that, look, listen, you don't think there's people out there that people could get excited about? By the way, MAGA is very excited. MAGA is plenty excited. But the idea that, like, on our bench, across the bench, we don't have anybody?
Okay. No, we got plenty of time. That's the thing. We got plenty of time. But here's the thing, like, as we say last week, the only ones who like despair and like abandon their candidates are Democrats. Like, if this was happening to a Republican, they will be tripling down. Like, Republicans don't do this shit. No.
And how did that work for Bob Dole?
Yeah,
and how did that work for Mitt Romney? And how did that work for John McCain? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I can go down. By the way, how did that work for Nixon? You know what I mean? When he ran against Kennedy. I mean, look, I can give you examples when the Republicans lost. Republicans lose and Democrats lose again. Also, the idea that the only example that we have about a broken convention, by the way, after they killed our most impressive running candidate, which was Robert F. Kennedy, in 1968, and we ended up with the guy that we couldn't run, okay, and then we lost the election to Nixon. But had Robert Kennedy been on the top of that ticket, we would have won against Nixon. But my point is, I'd rather...
Who's putting down Kennedy? Who's putting down Kennedy? Nobody's saying Kennedy was a bad candidate.
No, but you're saying that the 68 convention, when we went into a brokered convention, and that is the only and prime example of when we went into a broker. That convention was insane because after Robert Kennedy had died, who would have been against maybe the Vietnam War, who would have been you know what I mean? Like, we could have maybe beaten Nixon. I mean, you're just disregarding a bunch of facts in history. But yes, we lost the election. Okay, move on. But the idea that there's, by the way, I'll give you the best brokered convention that there's ever been in the history of all brokered conventions. The one that Lincoln won. Lincoln didn't won a single top ballot until he won. And he was to my opinion, our greatest president. Okay.
Yeah, pass is it's no
a guarantee of the future.
A guarantee of the past is not a guarantee of the future. So so far the past also tell us that that we had never won when the incumbent gets challenged. There is a bit of history for you, more recent.
Here's another bit of the past. No felon, no candidate that ever was a felon has won the presidency.
Well, there has never been one. We haven't proved that theory. Okay, we haven't proved the theory.
I'll give it to you there. See? I'll give you that.
Yeah, it may be that now, like, that's the way to win.
I mean, it's like, maybe where's P. Diddy at?
Yeah, where's P. Diddy at? Wow, that's a deep cut. Listen, my man, this was fun.
I mean, this is an emotional one. I want to say, guys, if you want to subscribe, if you like us, if
you're going to hear us, we love each other, but we actually don't agree on everything, which is the fun thing. That's why you want to listen to us. Take size. I want anybody who listens to this to tell me, they are with Team David or Team Miguel. I think we're in the same team, but yeah, if
We're
you
always
guys
on the
find a
same team.
difference,
No. Tactically, we're on the same team, but tactically, we're looking at things in a different way.
We have different tactics. Anyway, listen, man, can't wait to see you next week. It's gonna be so much. This is gonna be a very, very fun.
The fun thing about
6
this
months.
podcast, by the way, David, is that we get to get all emotional here, and we have absolutely no control over the events that happen over us.
Absolutely,
But,
that's a bit.
welcome to
some people do
democracy.
that over sports. At least you get to vote, and I get to vote.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
we're Americans by choice.
That's right, my
Like
friend.
us,
Like
follow
us, subscribe.
follow us, send us emails,
back,
and tell us,
come back for
and
the
tell us,
argument.
and tell us who you think was right on this one, Miguel or me. Okay, all right. Let's put it this way. How right was that? That's what I want you guys to tell.
David,
How right was that?
I can't wait to eat some crow pie next week. I love to see you eat. I love it. It's actually a fetish of mine. I love it. I love it.
I don't understand some things. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what we're living right now. All right.
All right, buddy. I love you.
See you
Take
next
it easy.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.